Okay, folks, back to where we were. Back to where we were. So, we got a couple levels here. And I got all kinds of stuff that my desk just grabs things. Got some brushes here. Got this, we're going to use that to paint on. And we'll be using craft paint here. To work our way up on this resin. I don't know what to call it. Almost want to call it a manor house. Maybe it's a small manor house or a really large farmhouse. Okay, I believe this country tan is the color we were using. It's extremely watery. It's also extremely cheap. So we can be like really wasteful if we wanted to with this stuff. Now let's go ahead and put another layer of color on top of this thing. Let's see, let's use, still a little wet here. Hey Jeffrey, am I going to be decorating the interior with wallpaper? No. No, that's absurd. That's I could go into, I could back myself into a corner I wouldn't be able to get out of. No, I personally hate wallpaper. I don't have a single wallpaper in I haven't lived in a house that has wallpaper in it in probably 30 years. But no, I don't think I'm going to do that because then I have to weather the wallpaper. And yeah, I don't want to get into that. I don't think I'm going to. Let's put it that way. That's a task too far. A task too far. Okay, let's see. Let's move these Nazi half tracks out of the way. And see what we've got color-wise here. Well, this is really forgiving. Let's couple of small watercolors won't go amiss too. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, this is very forgiving. So, if you actually ask me to use actual watercolors, no, that's my daughter's department. She's the master of that. But I'm kind of enjoying this. It's kind of mindless. I actually didn't even take my contacts out for this. We'll just have the readers on and using the actual glasses is a pain in the butt because I've got to like remove them to do anything, and I didn't need to do any of this stuff until like 6 years ago. I was painting in corrected in 2020 vision. So one thing that I noticed about this thing, hey Nordic, one thing I noticed about this thing that isn't immediately apparent, and I don't know if I can move the camera to do this, but this building here, I really don't know if I can move this thing to do it. We're going to give it a good old try here. This particular building is one, obviously the whole thing is actually resin, but the actual building, what it's trying to represent, is one material. And if you look back here at the storage house, it's like stucco, okay? And this is also stucco as well. So what I envision is this house is going to be, and they're going to be similar colors, is going to be one color on the outside. Okay, and these walls here and this outbuilding and all the way around here, this will be a different color. Okay, because you can really tell here, this is one style of stucco, and if you move over here, this one is a little rougher. So that's what the plan is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to stick to that, but that's kind of how I'm going about it. So, Men on the Walls. Where did I get that? I don't remember. I got it from jolly old England. I got it in the late 90s when I used to order a lot from a place called Brookhurst Hobbies, which is still around. And Brookhurst Hobbies used to be the importer of lots of the product lines that I used to buy from. Because even back then, even before I got into 15s, all of my stuff came from the UK as well. I'm telling you, it's always been the land of toys for me. Except when I was doing like CNC and GHQ 1/2400 scale ships, then everything came from the US. But I have no problem buying things from England. It's just travel time and freight. Back then, well, it really wasn't an issue. I don't remember who I ordered this from. I don't think Brookhurst imported Queen's Hussars. That's what the name of the company was at the time when I ordered this. Was Queen's Hussars. And now they're carried by a company called Lancers. Lancers Miniatures, or I believe is what they're called. And I don't know how old these molds are, but if I had to guess, they're probably from the 80s. They're fine. They've got lots of really cool detail on them, which isn't really. It actually looks better doing this, the dry brushing on it than without it. There's all kinds of little subtle details that might have gotten lost if they hadn't been brought out. Paints and horses. What kind of weathering powder? Oh, I don't use weathering powder. There was a time when I was doing models, 1/35 scale models, that we started using pastels. We'd take some sandpaper and we'd do pastels because that was the rage, and then you were supposed to fix them with like some kind of flat coat or whatever. But let's see. Okay, that's looking a little bit more. Getting a workout moving this thing around. Yeah, this is cheap craft paint. So one thing I found out about craft paint that I did not know is craft paint, of course, is cheap to make, and it has a higher proportion of filler to pigment, and so therefore it's actually flatter, or it's less shiny. But talking about, they don't make things here in the United States because they're too expensive to make them here. The cheapest paint I have is craft paint. It's either Deco Art or Apple Barrel or Folk Art, or I think there's one other brand. All of them are no more than $1.50 for a big thing like this at the most. Every one of them is made in the United States. So, what was I saying? Block colors. Yeah, I'm probably going to paint the inside of the rooms different colors. Probably. I probably will do that. But I won't actually be putting on wallpaper. Although I saw somebody do it. I'm not a fan of wallpaper. I don't know if I could live in a house that had wallpaper. I know it was trendy in the 1940s, but I would rather have. God, what was that stuff that we had in the 70s here in the United States? We had one of those in a living room, and it was the wood. It was the veneer shit on the walls. I forget what it's called. These craft paints for painting, basing, for miniatures, and terrain stuff. Yeah, I use it for terrain. I don't use it for the basing because it just I don't think it's durable enough for me. but I could use it if I had to. And I've already got the colors I want down, but and I'm not using that much of it. But for terrain, absolutely, yeah. I actually wish that I had invested in a bunch of Liquitex stuff, like actual like acrylic paint, like tube stuff. Then we could have a lot of fun then. But some of that stuff doesn't dry as well as this. But that stuff's expensive to get started in it now. And we'll probably do some weathering. I mean, you know, we're just kind of winging it. This is going to be a month-long project. You're going to be tired of looking at this damn thing. But I don't think I'm going to make this color any yellower than this right here. I think it's just not going to look right. This is what I should do. There we go. Careful, I have to get a shot of my feet and you get all excited. Nah, it's just Mitch's feet you guys have a Woody for. I hope. I don't wear shoes inside my house, but that's, you know, if I played in a shed that was outside like Mitch's place is, I'd wear shoes out there. But I don't wear shoes inside my house. There's enough crap that you get all over the floor, even without doing that. Even without wearing shoes in the house. So I looked at some buildings in Normandy, or some other painted buildings in Normandy. There kind of tend to be kind of a trend that I saw. One of the trends that I saw is there seemed to be a tendency of the frames of the windows to be in white, and I may go in that direction. I know it's, you know, you don't want it to look, you know, too Christmas treed. Not me. I'm not a feet guy. Perfect. You wear slippers when I walk around the house when I'm the gaming. I can't. My feet are always hot. My feet are always hot. And I don't ever put on any shoes without using foot spray because it's really annoying to have, like, you know, your feet clean and then, you know, your shoes still smelling because your feet, you know, they sweat. That's just annoying, you know. And my feet are enclosed all day long in freaking shoes at work, so they need to live a little bit. Yeah, I don't care if you're into feet, but you shouldn't be into dudes' feet, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe Asian girls' feet, if you're into that. Blonde feet. How can you tell if they're blonde? You like feet with blonde hairs on the toes. Oh, man. Okay, so we just add a little bit of color here. Man, it's going to be difficult to get something. There we go. Let's get another light source going in here. I don't know if it's very helpful, but it is another light source. We've got to get the main color of this where we want it before we start doing a little brickwork. Easy with the blondes. They have the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. I wonder why they got that reputation. I wonder, you know, how many millennia it took for that to be a thing. I guess some people are into people that aren't too smart, but I'm not one of them. I think smart is sexy. You don't have to be a nerd burglar or third class, though. But this is 20th century, like the Poles, right? All the Polish jokes come from the 20th century. I think it's the California blondes, to be honest with you. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's blondes. I think it's California blondes. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, you guys are looking at it upside down. Good thing if I end up snapping this in half, I can still epoxy it together. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let's continue doing the same color all the way around the outside. We're going to add a little bit of a new color that's not on the house on top of that one and see what we got. Okay. This is just total experimentation. Wager has something to do with likes of Marilyn Monroe like blondes that popped up, just acted stupid, played on the looks that got blondes that rep. I think I've only seen one movie that she was in. And that would be, oh my gosh, a black and white movie. But I think I've only seen one movie that she's in. She didn't do anything for me. I'm more of a, if you're talking about ladies of that vintage, Grace Kelly. Wow. Anyhow, let's do this same color all the way around. This lighting is just like, let's see, we can do better than that, I think. How about if we do this? There we go. I think we need to move into that zone. Not worry about having to do these vertical for this. When we do staining and stuff like that, it's a little bit more critical. I wonder if Rick's going to join us tonight, or he's already there in Ambushka. Captain Ambushka. I feel a little bit more liberated being able to do this without this completely covered, knowing that I can just take it off with hand sanitizer. So one of the problems that I encountered with craft paint is I had bought these little mixing plastic things, like mixing palettes that had little spots for like where the paint would go and everything, and they were really inexpensive several years ago. Used them one time and I couldn't get the paint out from on them. It was like stuck, and I had even used craft paint, and I'm like, why does this craft paint stick so well to this material? And I'm thinking it's probably really poor quality material. It's very porous, doesn't look like it, but it's probably very porous, and it's stuck in the pores. Well, now that I know that I can clean it with hand sanitizer, I wonder what happened to it. I know I got it lurking around here somewhere. But honestly, what I've used is a paper plate. I'm not a paper plate, an actual plate, like one you would eat from. That works great for mixing, colors if you're like painting a background, that sort of thing. Rick is lurking, waiting for the nerd burglar symbol to fly in the sky. What would the nerd burglar symbol be? A pair of glasses with tape on them? Oh, Snapdragon. A saucer to mix it in. Empty Panera bread coffee cup for Rick. Yeah. No, his would never be empty because he'd sign up for the refill thing. They'd probably either really like him or be like, man, this guy again in a blue Jeep. This guy in his blue Jeep. Inside joke. All right, here we go. I'm going to talk about cars tonight. Vehicles. What vehicle would you never be caught dead in? Or what type of a vehicle would you never, not be caught dead in, but what kind of a vehicle would you never drive? Within reason, not like, Greyhound bus. Yeah, you're not going to drive that around. I'm talking about daily. Waiting for the order to be finished to punched out. Oh, man. I've heard of people do crazy stuff like that, and then they don't lose their job over it. I'm like, what? Crotch rocket motorcycle. Okay, I wouldn't have any motorcycle. Mine's real easy. Mine is real easy. Yeah, you'd think that they would drive a little bit more careful, considering you're one sneeze away from basically being roadkill. I will spill my drink. Oh, it's over here. Mine's real easy, and it comes from being scarred from childhood. That's a station wagon. I got a guy I work with that has a hard-on for station wagons, and I'm like, that's because you didn't get brought to school in one in the freaking Reliant Robin. All right, we got to look that up. We don't know the UK vehicles, and I'm upset with the UK, because you guys should have better vehicles that are still around. Just like I think American vehicles should be better. I mean, and you guys built the freaking Spitfire, for God's sakes. I mean, is there a better plane of the Second World War? Not better looking, that's for sure. Reliant Robin. It's sounds like a powerful. Oh, be nice if I could. Sounds like a powerful engine. Why can't we type? Oh, what's going on here? I'm gonna blame it on the Chinese. Reliant Robin. Reliant sounds like a, okay. Robin part? Nah. Oh dear God. That looks like a vehicle that somebody put together from a car accident. There's like a car accident. It's like, all right, what can we make out of this? 3 small-wheeled car. That's another thing. I don't know what the hell CC is. Cubic centimeters. That don't make any sense to me. It's production 73 to 81. The back of it doesn't look terrible. The front of it is just, yeah. A group of Reliant Robins and Rialtos in use as banger races. That is one fugly car. There's worse. Man, it makes that French Le Car seem like a powerhouse, doesn't it? I remember when those were everywhere in the 80s. They weren't everywhere, but you could saw them frequently. Le Car. Le Car, what else was around back then? I mean, you had all them Gremlins and stuff, but that's more of a 70s thing. Pintos. Okay. How about those smart cars? You guys have those things in Europe? I think they're made by Daimler-Benz somehow. I think the smart car is the same thing like the guy who did that smart water drink. The only smart person is the one selling it and getting the suckers to buy them. That is just, a car should be safe. You're like freaking dead. You don't even have a comfortable coffin. Human sardine. Yeah, I would have a minivan before I would have a station wagon. I absolutely hate station wagons. It's that third window. You got the first window, it's the front seat. Then you got one that's on the back, and having that third window just kills it for me. Of course, you might as well just enjoy what you have, because I think that the fun cars are pretty much done with as far as I'm concerned. I'm the only one that wants Japanese 2-door stick shift coupe, coupe. And they just don't exist anymore. Go back to the 1980s. They import them in other places. But nobody in this country can drive a stick shift or wants to. They're too busy. They want to have 2 phones and eat a sandwich at the same time, And you wonder why there's so many damn accidents. Pickup truck. I'm not a pickup truck person. Yeah, I remember when pickup trucks were significantly less than regular vehicles. It makes sense. You only have half of the capacity. I still call station wagons grocery getters. Maybe a little bit down here. All right. So I'm thinking the walls and this outbuilding should be brighter than the actual house. They're going to be close. So let's take a look at, this is going to be really pale. Hell, it's called sandstone. Fawn, I think, is going to have a little bit too much pink in it, but I'm going to take a look at it here. We may have to mix us up a batch. Let's see what we got here. I think that might be a little bit too much. Let's take a look at it. I may end up adding a little bit of yellow to this color that I already have here and calling it that. A little bit. Let's add a little bit to this. Let's see if I can get a true light here. We don't have to go really heavy on it. It could have been just something as simple as it was the same color, but because it was a different type of stucco or it was painted at a different time, it aged differently. Let's put a little bit more of that fawn on there. Do I have any other buildings like that? I don't. Well, unless you want to talk about the pigeon. Well, I have this one, okay? Which we need to de-yellowize this thing. It looks nice, but it's way too yellow. We're going to do some washes to it, and we'll be able to bring it back up. But I've used that quite a bit. It's painted well, other than my color choice. It's a little too happy. And the pigsty, chicken coop thing, which will be potentially be part of this complex. But the other two buildings that I have are industrial. They're not industrial. They're like apartment type buildings that are. They have about the same footprint of this. So, holy yellow, yeah. Yep. Yeah, we'll be able to tone that down though. I'm pretty certain. I got confidence in some of my abilities. I gotta find the article that I found. Big Bird's house. I gotta find the article that somebody did a French house, and it was let's say, I believe it was a row house actually. So they had this one wall that was like this, and it may have even been a solid wall, didn't even have a window in it. And they had put like this post. They had I don't know how they did it, but they didn't use a decal, but they have, sometimes like you see these, there'll be like an advertising on the side of it, not necessarily like a poster, but like actual like painting, like advertising something. And I don't remember exactly how they did it, but it looked brilliant, how they did it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find that. I've got it saved somewhere. I see something cool and like that, and I save it. I might have saved a Facebook post or something like that. All right, so we're going to add a little bit more of this so that we've got. You could tell the difference. We're not going to add any more than this, but just have some. And of course, we're going to end up going over it probably with a lighter color, but just add some depth in there. I'm really enjoying this. This is something totally different. Obviously, this stuff down here will be the ground color. Now, as we get closer to this big old hole in here, we don't want a color that's really bright there because some of that probably smoldered there. I'm definitely going to put tufts towards the end. I don't know about static grass. I'm kind of losing my, it's losing its appeal. It's just a little hard to control. I'm going to go over the top of this, even though this may end up being a different color, almost certainly. But I don't want to leave it just black. It'll just be something where something can grab it. And then I'm probably going to do the roofs next. Roofs, the roofies. But I'm certain that this will turn. I'll be happy with this whenever I'm done with it. 3 poster signed PDFs off Sarissa and War Bases. I wasn't familiar with War Bases. No, this guy had done, I don't know how he did it. It was almost like he put like a poster on there, like he peeled it and then he went over it and then it's almost like he printed something off of his printer backwards and then he put it on there and let the ink from the printer get there and then he painted. I mean, it was freaking really well done. But that's what the internet does. It gives you, I mean, you may not be able to pull it off, but at least it gives you some ideas of some really cool things that other folks did and of what's possible. I am a fan of the tufts. The tufts seem to work really well. The static grass just seems like sometimes it's just too basic. Like, this is what I did before. This was done 20 years ago when I first started doing the static grass. I just put static grass everywhere. It looks stupid. You know, I can do better than that. So we're going to fix that up. You know, I did that when the internet was still in its infancy. You can share ideas from people. But if I would have done this many years ago, what I would have done is I would have ended up painting the cobblestone first. And then I'd get frustrated because every time I would add another color to this, I would end up having to go, I would have to be so careful so I don't undo what I've already done or having to fix it. Okay, it's the wall on the inside. The wall on the outside is here. Okay, all the way around here. This is also good. I don't know what we're going to do rubble-wise there. All right. Now, against my better judgment, purchase bright flowery tufts purchased on eBay, just too bright for historical miniatures. Burrows and Badgers miniatures. Who makes those? Sounds like something Eureka would make. Eureka's got some interesting stuff. They've got like frogs with muskets riding turtles and shit like that. That's pretty cool. No, we're not going to use a lot of yellow. Let's see what these two colors look like. Okay. And then if we did this one with a little bit of yellow, that one's much better. That's a little too pale. Let's do can I even tell? Just a tiny little bit. Like that's enough on that side there. Just a little bit of Oathsworn. Sounds like somebody that makes like Dark Ages miniatures. So Rick was telling me, I asked him today, I figured he would know. What was the deal? I saw several people have done videos on some board game controversy or something like that that just recently happened. And I guess he said it was something to do with somebody had held somebody at, was blackmailing someone to sponsor them or they were going to release a bad video. I don't know. People can do stuff for money, but that's not really my shtick. I don't want to be sponsored by anybody. Oh, wrong one. Fawn. Too much argument, too much, hey, you played it wrong by the rules. I don't plan on playing, I don't plan on ever playing a set of rules where I'm playing them explicitly the way they're written. Not because I want to tinker with them, but if there's something that doesn't make sense to all of us playing, we're not going to play that way, you know? All right, let me step away from this thing. Oh, that light is just, this light's not very useful. It's showing me a color that just doesn't exist. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to leave it like that. I don't think I'm going to, at least now, we can always add another color to it. Has a little bit of color here. It's still, roof sections. This one is just like one big slab of just sitting up here. What drama? The drama of you stepping away. Okay. I think I know what color I want the roof to be. So, aw, man. We didn't do the little pokey hole here of the color of the building. Can I put that off or should I do that now? Let's see. Let's go ahead and do it now. And of course, there's some bricks showing in some of these, so we're gonna have to avoid that. Yeah, well, I know. Let's do it now while I know what colors I used. It's relatively simple. All right, so let's. We should be able to do this on top of it. Let's get any vestiges of yellow. I was saying there was a guy that, there's several people that had made this videos. There's one guy that I follow, and I really haven't paid attention to him in a long time, because he does mostly board games, and I can't be into everything. But a lot of people put up these videos of like this controversy in board games, and apparently it's some guy had made some video that was gonna give this guy a bad review of his game unless he paid him like a ransom, like a blackmail him. And I'm like, really? I mean, there's probably more to it than that, but I'm like, you know, someone asking for cash to make a video and give a favorable review. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, here's the reality. They're not, if they give you cash, they're not gonna give you enough cash that's gonna make a difference. You know, it's like taking somebody's game. I'm not saying this was the case in that one, but if you go and you like steal somebody's intellectual property or ideas and you repackage them as your own and sell the game, it doesn't matter whether or not you get sued or not. It's the wrong thing to do, and it's not like it's going to set you up for life. So, like, why even do it? You know, nobody's making any money on this. You know, the amount of money that you're making is basically, if you don't want to put in the work to make the video, the little amount of money you're going to pay, and I think it was like $7,500. I'm sorry, that's just not any money at all. You know, that's way too much work for $7,500. But I'd never even heard of the company that did it, the channel. And I'd like to know how many viewers they actually lost. That's what I was interested in. Hopefully they lost a lot. But you never know. Some people will, you know, follow somebody to the ends of the earth. You know, there's groupie type people for sure. Meanwhile, I just want them to give me I just want my terrain map that's not damaged to come in. I'm pretty much pissing in the wind at this point. Okay. Did we do both sides? We did. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna go over that brick so it stands out and I can find it a little easier. But that's not the color it's going to end up being. And of course this is the inside, so that doesn't matter. Oh, there's brick showing there too. Cool. Yeah, this thing has a lot of detail. A lot of detail. Okay. The roof is going to be like a blue-gray color. I think. So let's just go with that. Do you see the outrage that turned Lord brings it to a black dude for the stupid MTG kind? No, I didn't. So that video game that I got was supposedly had a lot of it. Oh, it's really woke or whatever. Okay, it's not really woke. It does things that are stupid. Okay, there's just things that are stupid, and I'll give you an example of it. And this is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And it's actually not as funny as I was expecting it to do. I think it's worth the $18 that I got for it used, but not worth 60. I only played it a little bit, but you know, just something as a distraction. But a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's super woke" or whatever. Well, here's what the kind of silly things they do. Okay, and this is just my opinion. If you have different opinions, well, you know, that's just fine. So they got this. One of the examples I'll use is they've got this town that you can go in, and you talk to different people in a town. Unlike, not too much unlike, what's that game that I played and I absolutely hated? Was it Morrowind? I don't know. One of those Elder Scrolls a long time ago. But I didn't want to talk to any of those people, and it looked kind of didn't look very good. So you've got somebody who runs an inn. You got somebody who runs something else. Not a whole lot because it's basically a shoot and looter type game, you know. And let's get to some color mixing and we'll talk about that. You got one character you come across as a blacksmith. All right. And who do they choose to use? So the blacksmith, they give a blacksmith a Scottish voice, right? I didn't like it. Sorry. It looked blurry as crap to me. It was a long time ago. So they have a blacksmith character. They made her a female person of an extremely dark complexion, but yet she has a Scottish accent. Like, okay, I'm fine with her being of that dark complexion and female. Oh, and she's very small as well. But why does she have a Scottish accent? I mean, I've never been to Scotland, but I'm just thinking if there's somebody that looks like that in Scotland, it's probably the exception to the rule by a factor of a lot. Just silly things like that, just like they're trying too hard. This is the yellow I should have used. I should have used this antique gold, even though it's not metallic. That's fine. You can tinker around with it later. This is a cool color. I actually picked this one out of the blue. Daybreak. So we'll go a little bit further. Maybe I'll do a light dry brushing with that. Yes, very, very, very light. So they do stuff like that. The other thing is you do a lot of missions where you have to hey, send this person flowers or whatever. And it's always same-sex couples. And I'm fine with there being same-sex couples in it, but every single couple is not the norm. And it doesn't bother me. It's just like, come on, man, you guys are trying too hard, it doesn't bother me because you're not going to convert me or whatever. I don't actually have a problem with same-sex couples, but it's the exception to the rule, not the. So if you do that for like 10 different groups, 10 different groups of people, shouldn't be more than like 3 of the 10 you should be doing it, not like every one. So it's that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, whatever. You're trying too hard, I think we're gonna add a little bit of blue. I think we have a pavement here or something that works. Yeah, we're gonna use pavement as a base. Let's use pavement at the base and dry brush on that and just work from there. So it's that kind of stuff, it's just. I'm all for different groups of people being represented, especially if they're, a percentage of the population. But don't you think they should be represented kind of in the percentage of the population that they already are? I've personally sworn off watching anything new or playing any new video games. It's made in the last 4 years. Going forward, no thanks. Yeah, what happened? Did we lose a war that I'm not aware of? It just seems weird. It just seems weird. Let me go get a soda. I'll be right back. There's nothing more surprising than a Scottish accent emanating from a person you don't expect it from. Happens here regularly, especially South Asians with a broad Glasgow accent. Sure, but should the only person you encounter have that accent? It's just trying too hard. I don't care. It doesn't keep me from playing the game. It's just like weird, you know? The goblins in that game are actually kind of interesting. They made them look pig-like. They have a pig-like nose. So, you know, goblins normally have a very elongated nose, generally, and they're actually a very pig nose in them. They're still green, kind of chunky too, kind of funny, but it is. When you create a character, you can create a he, she, or a them. I'm like, you know, you can't be one person in plural. Unless you got multiple heads. All right, this can go. This has no place in it at this moment. Let's just take these guys out of the equation and move Mr. House over here. Yes, I picked its gender. I don't know. But I guess if I was okay. Yeah, you can create your characters, you can make it, you know, male, female, or them. I don't know what you would do with the other one. I guess that's fine. There's certain character classes I specifically pick. If you're playing a fantasy game, that I specifically want them to be female. They just fit them better. For me, the best orcs, the pig-faced orcs and hobgoblins. The old minifigs figures were hard to beat. I don't know that I've seen them. How about that Ral Partha troll with the big corncob nose, and he had like the almost like that hair, like a crazy Gaul. That's a classic right there. I never had him, but I don't know if that's straight out of like some D&D magazine or something like that, or rules or something. But that's why I associate it with. We're just going to give these guys just quickly go over this. So if I'm playing some kind of an archer type character, I prefer the character be female. As I like to say, I like to play a bow bitch. It's generally, if I'm playing one of those kind of games, my favorite type of character. It's a ranged character, and I want them to be female. I knew the owner of Ral Partha for a number of years early on when I started wargaming. What's the person's name? And why is it called Ral Partha? What does Ral Partha mean? Place of games, got a fuck ton of Ral Partha miniatures, still no blisters all over the gaming area. Well, yeah, he's the owner. If anybody's gonna have it, it's the owner. Taking their homework with them. A fuck ton. How much is that? It's 3 shitloads. Are there certain characters that, if you play in a fantasy setting, you specifically want them to be a certain way? I don't want to play any character that's not human. I'm sorry. I'm a human supremacist. I don't care what color they are or you know, or what accent they have, but I like to play humans exclusively. I am pro-human. Glenn Kidd is his name. I'm not sure what it meant. Well, he was the owner. I don't believe he owns it anymore. Never heard of Glenn Kidd. I mean, you know, sorry. I think there's a little bit of blue in this. I'm going to just... Nah, I'm going to use pewter gray. I'm not going to use... Let's add a little bit of English Navy. Does England still have a navy? Barely. I couldn't believe when I saw how small the British Navy is. Wow. Let's add a little bit of this stuff in here. Let's see, can we even tell the difference? No, we need a little bit more. A little bit more Navy. Humans are boring, but so is having to play special races like Dragonborn. Dragonborn is stupid, in my opinion. But, you know, if people want to play it. You know, you're half dragon. Okay, well. That's what you're into. There's some people out there that probably don't want to play humans because they're kind of embarrassed of being human. Look, there's bad people in this world. There's no doubt about it. But all people aren't bad. And if you let the animals take over, they do a shittier job. Look, they eat each other. Humans don't all eat each other. As a matter of fact, it's rare. Thank goodness. Both were first famous I came across Games Workshop and pointed them. Yeah, they're all U.S. ones, right? I think so. Some of their figures sometimes are a little too lanky or in different poses, just like. I bet there's a ton of Games Workshop Citadel figures that they don't make anymore. The British Navy carriers need to escort the other 17 other surface combatants. Is that all they have? That's just sad, man. Maybe it's a waste of money, but I don't know. I think it's just kind of sad. The problem is in games like Wars or the Coast Dungeons and woke superheroes, non-humans get all these superpowers, and that's what most... Oh. I don't want to play a half-orc. Ugly. So they're the ones you can't use the term race in them, right? To do like elves and stuff. What do you call them then? Can't have a race of elves. That's a bad word. this may end up being a situation that I'm going to want to give it an Agrax Earth Shade or something like that before I do it. But like I said, this is going to take a little bit. This is going to take some tinkering to get it exactly how you want it. Where's my white at? Craft Smart White. We have one. There's hardly any of it in there. I don't know what they call them. Games Workshop produced Rob Parth in the UK. They also produced Citadel Miniatures. Yeah, I always knew him as Citadel. And when they first came on the scene, at least when I first saw them on the scene in the late 80s, I was a fan. You know, I still like their miniatures. I just don't like their you know, we're not going to support this anymore crap, you know? You even think that orcs represent black Americans, which is absurd. Well, they're the ones that are seeing it, not me. The problem I see with doing this is the lighting is just like in every single direction. Dean Dill still uses their races and sub races. There's a deadly word. Just a hard company. What are Bretonians supposed to be? What's their are they like King Arthur? Or they have a little bit of Norman stuff to them? Like high medieval King Arthur? Because Empire is what? That's like Holy Roman Empire, right? They're like Germans and shit like that. Or German influenced. High medieval knights in shining armor. Okay. I know there's no good guys in Warhammer 40K. Well, can you argue at least that the Empire, the Emperor is the least bad guy? Or you can't even do that? Well, I'm not really heartbroken about it. As I've seen the kind of people, most of the people that play role-playing games, and I don't really want to play a game with any of them. There's some strange cats. Games Workshop makes me laugh. Welcome, Eric. You make me laugh. You make me sad. So be it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Obviously, we're not even close to being done. Yeah, see, you can't even see the color just because all the kickback from the light. All right, that's good for now. It's going to be tinkering back and forth with this stuff. Bretonis are French, Burgundian, medieval types. We'll change the base sizes so you can't use your own miniatures. Well, that's if you played in a tournament. Just like we played Lion Rampant the other day, we used DBX basing. No problems. No problems. We marked off casualties. You know, when you lose a base, you take the base off. If something seems stupid in the rules, you just don't play them that way. You know? We used inches like it was recommended. And one of the players was like, hey, let's try doing less movement rate next time. Okay, sure. Let's try it. It's not like we're going to play it in a tournament, you know? Yeah, we're not done. We're not done, Eric. This is going to be a lot of tinkering, and this is a lot of really mindless tinkering now. I know how I want it to look. I've just never done it before. Does that make sense? Saga would be great in 15s. But Saga did one of those things that they redid the edition. Everybody had to buy new books bullshit, you know? Well, when you play with your own folks, you don't have to fall for that. You know, you can do whatever the hell you want. And we're going to come in there and paint a couple of these roof tiles a different color and stuff like that. We're just kind of fooling around. Letting it work on everything all the way up. So it's not like, okay, we're going to get the roof perfect. And then like, well, I don't know how something else is. It's just turn around and mix it up a little bit. All right, so you're going to get more. It's going to be darker around where it's not going to get enough sun. Who knows what the hell happens here. We're going to have to paint there's some wood and stuff that's in there going on. This looks like it could very well be in a different color. I don't know yet where we're going to go with that, so we'll give this a dusting of this, come back and repaint it if we don't like how it looks. Codex stuff. The problem when Saga came out with, first of all, it's the wrong scale, and I'm just not interested in Dark Age England. I'm sorry. Sorry, folks in England. It's just not my people. You It just doesn't appeal to me at all. It's as exciting as the American Civil War for me. Nah, it's better than the American Civil War. I'm not an ACW fan. And it's not because I'm offended by it or anything like that. Yeah, I'm not one of those people. All right, let's put it on top of the base here and see what kind of a feeling we're getting from it. Ah, Snapdragon. Yeah, so you can't see this color accurately because it's got too much kickback. Prefer AD&D. Played 5th edition D&D recently with a mate and his daughter's fiance and friends, just not the same. Frostgrave reminds me of AD&D combat system. What's the AD&D combat system? It's not D20, right? It's all the individual dice. Is it all THACO or THACO or? I prefer something that's more along the lines of like Hero Quest. Light on the search for traps crap, I just want to play a combat game. Let's see, let's get this somewhere. I think the idea of the color of the buildings, AD&D uses hit armor class 0, THACO. Okay. So you guys don't like D20. D20, just that die could just keep rolling. Just a little too round for my taste. It's just poor man's percentile. Okay, we got a couple of roofs here that we need to do in the same or a similar color. You roll D20, add or minus your attack bonus. Recently played Ryan Rampant and Saga using the same. What'd you guys think of those pictures that I put of the Lion Rampant game the other night? I should have taken my freaking mat with me from Tiny War Games. That I have it sitting there not doing anything with it. It doesn't have as many crease issues as the other one. That's what I'll do next time. But the problem that I have is my gaming group, God bless them, I don't know who's going to show up until it's too late. So what that does is it creates this feeling in the back of my mind that I don't want to put any of the work up front to put a scenario together or learn the rules or anything if I'm doing it specifically with other people, because it just reminds me of work where everything freaking changes constantly and I'm having to never mind the blender sound, we're just blending up some neighbors that didn't want to behave. It reminds me of this, all the crap I got to do at work, and it's never ending, and it's just my wasted time. So, you don't know who's going to show up until it's too late. It's like, well, why make these elaborate plans of a 4-player game and then do all this homework ahead of time and then realize that, oh, we actually only have 3 players. And, I just don't want to put the homework in, and that's the problem with it is I don't, we just kind of wing it. All right, what we're going to do. And it's fine because it works out just fine, but it's like, I didn't know until the very last minute I thought we were going to have 4 players. We ended up only having 3. So I ended up not playing, which was fine. I didn't want to play. I wanted to kind of run the game. or at least be kind of the catalyst of moving it along. And had a great time. That has nothing to do with it, but it's just really frustrating to not be in control of that situation. So we actually had a game that I played last night with a family, and realized I do not want to play any games that involve scoring or anything like that at the end of an evening. My brain is toast by then, and you just make dumb mistakes, and it's just frustrating, you know. So if we're gonna play a game, well, whenever we get around to doing this, this will be done on a weekend, early in the morning. If you can't make it, I guess you won't play in it. But I'm not gonna break my head open, you know, at 9 o'clock at night, trying to figure out what everybody's hit chance is on something. It's just not worth it. So, I just, you know, at the end of the evening, it's like you're just tired. You know, there's no point in playing a game after you've worked and been awake for like 14 hours. RuneQuest made use of percentile dice, as does the Arms Law system. Remember Phoenix Command? That was an insane detailed thing. What did Twilight 2000 use? Was it D10? I don't remember. Yeah, we're going to do 15s because that's what we have a bunch of. Why does RuneQuest remind me of a board game? Was there a board game named RuneQuest? I don't mind using the old school dice as long as they're not the cheap ones that are like really sharp corners. Those don't feel good to roll. You know what I'm talking about, the really cheap ones that probably came in the rules. Although I never bought D&D rules. I just had like hand-me-down ones. Here, I don't want to play this anymore. You have them. All right, let's add that little bit of blue that we had. Put the British Navy to some use. Not really interested in the British Navy if we're talking about sailing ships. Just a period that just everything kind of looks the same to me. Definitely a fan of them in the Second World War. Hero Quest or War Quest or Dungeon Quest board games, but no Rune Quest. What's the difference between Dungeon Quest and Hero Quest, Rick? I want to say I played Hero Quest. And was that the one that was redone recently? Yeah, we're not just going to be done with this. There's going to be more tinkering to do, but we've got kind of just kind of getting the gist of all the colors, just so we can come in and say, okay, we're happy with this, or we're not happy with this. And is this the right yellowish type color, tan, what have you, or not? Now, these blocks that we see here, and here, and here, and on the edges of the building, I can see them being a lighter color. So let's go with the understanding that's what we're going to do. Oh, I haven't seen your unlock thing yet. Dungeon Quest is competitive, whereas Hero Quest is cooperative. And yes, just redone. Oh, I would want to do cooperative. So Dungeon Quest is more like Munchkin. I've never played Munchkin, but I looked at the rules and I'm like, if you play this with the wrong people, they'll ruin the game. Meaning they're just going to be assholes. And maybe that's what the purpose is, but I like this sandstone. I'm going to use this sandstone as a base for the corners and such. I think we're ready to mess with that a little bit. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to play a game where I have to backstab people the entire game. You know, maybe at the last minute, because somebody's got to win. But it's just not in me to play an asshole the whole time. Hey, I'm an asshole in real life. I don't have to play one in the board game. Oh, man. I think I'm not gonna darken this any. I think this is probably watered downish. Watered downish, yes, I make up my own words. Let's try, let's see what happens when. Let's do it on the house first. Munchkin's pretty silly, yes, very backstabby. Lots of take that, whereas Dungeon Quest is more trying to survive on your own. Not a lot of interaction between players. So which is the best zombie game? Zombie side? Somebody else was talking about Last Night on Earth. I can't remember which one I played. I want to say I played the ones that have the characters in them. It has like the cheerleader or something like that. I don't know if that really narrows it down. There might be lots of ones that have the characters. And do those games have good replay values? I want to say I had a Munchkin type game, or maybe I didn't, but it seemed like the components were really of poor quality. You know, when you end up getting something, this is not noticeable enough. But we'll use this as a base. Zombie side, Black Plague is your favorite. It's sword fantasy theme. One of the different monos zombie sides. A Western. Last Night on Earth. Small World is even more backstabby. Small World seems like a map that needs to have more detail in it. It seems like it might be. I've seen it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it in a long time. I've never had a chance to play it. This actually may not work. I may have to go to a more gray-like color. So we're just going to try it here. But we're going to add white to this in a little bit and highlight a little bit and see how that turns out. We're just going to use that. We're just going to do this side of the house. I don't know, this might work. I think it's going to work. And we haven't stained it. There's probably going to be some mold and stuff that I'm going to do, but You don't have to go overboard with that. Just a little bit to add some interest, adding something of interest there. I like this kind of a wet dry brush type painting. I use that sometimes when I'm doing bases and stuff, and I mean, this is like the most forgiving thing I've painted in a long time. I'm actually going to go ahead and paint the lintels in this color as well. There's a word you don't use very often, the lintels. I don't know what color I'm going to do those steps. We'll skip that. We don't have to decide everything right now. Has someone ever contacted you, Rick, wanting to publish your dicey depths? I mean, not that you'd want to, but I'm just saying, has somebody ever like, hey, you should... I'll help you with that. Some people think that somehow that's like a good thing, to take the rules that you can do whatever the hell you want with and publish them. I don't really see what the point in that is for me. I don't have a big interest in hating the hobby. What's going on here? It's almost like Noel offers published dice death, but Gavin over alternative armies brought possibly doing something with battlefields of man after Abatos. Oh, what's the difference of the two? I'm sorry, I was thinking they were the same thing. Flying Frog do an invasion from outer space. So I'm not a fan. I don't mind zombies. I'm not a fan of aliens. So if you take like a movie like Mars Attacks, I hated Mars Attacks, and I know it's supposed to be a cliche movie or whatever. I just didn't like it at all. I don't like the premise of it's different people dying from a zombie outbreak because there's still other people killing them. But aliens coming to kill all the Earth people. Yeah, we need to band together and take out all the aliens. That's just my attitude with it. Like, no, I'm not gonna let you green bastards live. Sorry. Just a little bit of standout detail. I'm going to look at the frames on the windows again. I think I'm probably going to do white. I don't want it to be too colorful. Things of that area don't seem to be, really crazy unless it's like a store or something like that. The sign in my storefront is going to be dark green. I already know that already. Having, I think I've narrowed down what building it's going to be, but man, this is just really enjoyable. I'm really enjoying the hell out of this. I'm doing some, it's almost like some, I don't have to be really precise with it. Well, it's worn out, so there's going to be some soot and stuff like that on this, and we can add some more afterwards. Two other last 9 Earth expansions: Blood in the Forest and Timber Peak. Which is the one that has the snow one? See, I get Last Night on Earth and Dead of Winter. That's what it is. Dead of are those different games? So I can picture what Dead of Winter looks like. I think those type of games would be a lot of fun with our group. I'd prefer one that's cooperative instead of a screw your buddy type of thing. I'm in with the zombies. There's an Asian movie that Mitch loved and he recommended to me to watch it. I don't remember what it's called, but basically the gist of it is this lady decides to throw in with the zombies to avenge her people, and just realizes she recognizes some of the people who get turned into zombies, and she wants to basically screw the whatever this government is. It's like in medieval times. I forget what it's called, and she knows that her last act is just going to be bitten by her own people, so she can become one of the zombies. And see, that's where she lost me. I'm like, you don't throw in with the zombies and kill all your kind. What planet are you from? Dead of Winter 1, Stone of Stickle and Free one of those brown books, character was a ranger. Shame you don't have the druid one. They got a druid in Diablo coming out. None of you guys want to play Diablo, huh? Well, they got a druid coming out with them. I kind of tinkered with it a little bit. Like, you can't make the druid look like anything other than like a Samoan, which just doesn't scream druid to me. I don't mind playing a Samoan looking character, but what are you gonna, if you're a Samoan, what are you gonna turn yourself into? A volcano? One of those tiki guys that comes out of the ground? Well, that would be a hell of a monster. So I guess mine will end up having a Samoan name, because that's one of those games that actually play all the characters. Good friend of mine's pretty Diablo obsessed. He's been playing the betas and pre-release. We have too. It's the only game I can get my wife to play. Unfortunately, it's too relaxing. It puts me to sleep, which is better than it stressing you out, I guess. I've been a big fan of the series since the first one. I generally like Blizzard games unless it's something like that god-awful Overwatch. It's not my kind of thing. I don't like games that are really heavy into boss battles. I don't care for boss battles. I don't like jumping games. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of that idea. I'm going to go ahead and paint these things on the edge here in this same color and just see how that works out, because it looks like it's the same type of stone. Hey, they make lots of different kind of games. You know, I don't like fighting games generally, like, you know, where you're just like a Final Fantasy type of thing where you're playing one guy. It's not my thing. It's, I guess, the equivalent of like in the arcade they'd have that boxing game. Like, why the hell do you want to play a boxing game? Go out and box in real life. Get hurt, but what would that be considered? Isometric action role playing? I don't know. It's a role playing game, but it's not heavy on the role playing. It's more of a tactics game. I like that. And treasure hunt. For gatherings. What's for gatherings? That's the treasure hunt thing. I'm gonna do the same thing in the same color. Festival things that rangers apparently get together and do according. What the hell's a ranger? A fancy name for a bow bitch? You know, I'm basically just jumping in and painting this instead of like, you know, over cogitating about how I'm going to paint things and you just get nothing done. I'm going to get close to what I'm going to like, and if not, I'm going to be close enough and be able to modify it so it does turn out something I'm happy with. Bow proficient. Yeah, they're just some characters I'm just not particularly interested in playing. Ranger seems fine to me. Warrior has knowledge of wood lore, hunting, tracking. Yep, I'm fine with a ranger. The bow bitch, as I like to call him. Generally, that's the type of character I like to play. I'm playing play game for the first time. That's what I want to be. I want to be a ranged, you know, because you can't just sit there and tank. Ranger's pretty much Aragorn, Northern. I mean, I only saw it one time. I don't remember. That's the Argentinian dude, right? I don't know what his name. I can't remember what his name is, but I remember what country he's from. Hey, it's kind of a unique thing. Vigo. The only weapon the D&D cartoon ranger was about. I remember when that show was on, and I hated it when it was on. But I guess there were fans of it. Um, I don't remember anything about it, other than I didn't like it. God, it was like 1985 or something like that. Two-weapon fighting is more linked to rangers and bows are. Okay. I like the games where you don't pick a boat, you don't pick a class of character, you just do what you do, and as you get better at it, as you use something, you get better at it. It just makes sense. Forget the labels. It's that game that I'm playing now. It calls the Stabomancer. Oh, be right back, folks. Okay, that was a little longer than expected, but got a situation here that I don't want to go into it, but I need to help with. We've got somebody that's had a procedure done, and they need help being in bed. And no, it's nothing life-threatening, but your mom. Your mom, the board game. Oh, is she flat or something? Rick, you're stuck on an island. You can only take one game with you. What are you taking? I'm not taking DBA. Just saying. You stuck on it with someone, or is it just me? My favorite solo game is the Bloody Inn. The Bloody Inn. Well, the problem with a solo game, if you truly play solo, there's nobody to talk to about, something really cool that may have happened in the game. Always film it. That's not really a solo game now, is it? Now, let me go ahead and put this roof on here and see how this accent color on the outside of this roof even looks. I don't think that looks that bad. And of course, we're not all the way there. We're working our way there. This is the part that's going to look really good is the wooden floor. I got that shit down. And of course, you guys are seeing a more washed out version, I should say. Just by the nature of this light that's so powerful. Getting there. I think we're on the right track. I think we're on the right track. I mean, this is really enjoyable. Mainly because I don't have to have this done by a certain time. Like, we got to get this done in 3 days for a game. Nope, no we don't. Rick, you've played a lot of games. I mean, you have a lot of games. Are there any games in your inventory that you would never play again? And hopefully it's not a game that like the people that come over to show up really love. That's really annoying. Hey Rick, let's play that one game. Really? I got 500, I've got 1,000 games. You want to play the one game I don't want to play? Go away, I'll get new friends. I don't know that I own any games that are like that. There's certainly games I've played I would never play again, but I don't own them. Spyfall, I've never heard of it. I don't know why I still keep it. Probably because I'm a hoarder. Yeah. Spyfall. I think Mitch has a couple games he'd never played before. Actually, he's got several games he's never played before, and they're old and not unopened, and they're in bad shape. You know, old games like Africa Core or what else he has really freaking old. I can't remember. Some of those I was talking to him. You just sell them. You're never gonna play. You're never gonna play Raid on Saint Nazaire or something like that. No, I think he's got like Hell's Highway or something like that. He's never gonna play that. I'd take a chess set. I would rather go to work than play chess. I hate chess. And probably the worst thing about chess is that everybody starts the same. Every game starts in the same way. Just that alone is enough reason not to play it. With the same pieces. I am not a strategic thinker. I am not. Nope. I'm proudly not a strategic thinker. Just like I wouldn't want to be a general manager of a building, of a business. No interest. Let's just go, even if we change that up a little bit, let's just at least do that so that we have something tying it all in. Are Dairy Queens also in your neck of the woods? You mean the restaurant? Yeah, they got them here. It's a place that I rarely go to, and it is a place that honestly kind of creeps me out getting food there. It seems like it's an ice cream place only. I would never go there and get a hot dog. It just seems like disturbing. Also, every Dairy Queen here is attached to a gas station. I am not a fan of getting food at a gas station. They have the new Puppy Chow Blizzard I want to try. Yeah, I had a hankering for some Cold Stone, and I'm not really a fan of Cold Stone. They just have banana ice cream, and it's like seasonal. We don't have it. I'm like, what the hell? You know, like we were traveling, we went to the beach, and I was like, I want to get one of those, and they didn't have banana ice cream, so I searched it. The local one here in town had it, and I said, I just want banana ice cream and walnuts, and it wasn't as good as I remember it being, and it wasn't like it was that long ago that I had it. I'm like, well, I could think of worse things than not really super enjoying ice cream and wanting more and more and more and more of it, so probably a good thing, but seasonal. But yet they always have stuff that I would never have, like cotton candy or something like that. The girls love Carvel, and I can't stand Carvel. We had there's a local chicken restaurant here, and like a mom and pop thing. It's relatively new. We went went there last night, and they actually have ice cream, and they have some freaking kick-ass ice cream flavors. What did I have? It was actually it was a sorbet, and it was they have both, but this one happened to be a sorbet. They had passion fruit basil. Turkey Hill ice cream is the best. So people are real particular about sandwiches, pizza. I suspect ice cream as well. I can't stand Bluebell at all, or I've never had a good one of it. Um, but you know, like I like ice cream that's fruity. You know, I'm not interested if it's got chocolate in it. Count me out. I'm not interested. It's just not my cup of tea. But that's one of those things that's better not to really have in the house because you know it doesn't last long. When I was younger, I've sat down and ate a whole half gallon by myself in one sitting. And in one sitting, I mean like I opened the top and I finished the whole thing in one sitting. I may have gotten up to change the channel or something like that. It was a long time ago. It was like 1993. Turkey Hill. I've never heard of it. Dairy Queens. Yeah, they got Dairy Queens all over the place. What is it that we don't have? In this town, we don't have any 7-Elevens. I don't know what it is. No big loss. I don't go to those places anyways, but no 7-Elevens in this town. They have them in Florida. They just don't have them in this town. But yeah, not a fan of getting food out of a gasoline place. Okay, Nordic, thanks for stopping by, man. Catch you on the next one. So I finally found my receipt that I had lost about sending the stuff to Noble Knight, and they supposedly received them today. So we'll see how many days it takes for them to process my order and tell me I got X amount of credit, or hopefully not come up with any reasons. Well, we didn't think the game was going to be like this, so we're actually going to give you less. I don't know that I'm afraid of it because it's not like my livelihood depends on the amount of money that they give me. But you know, it would be nice to just repurpose that stuff. Get something else with it. Won't be getting any games with it, I can tell you that much. I mean, there's no point in getting games and not doing anything with them either. I came really close to selling all my Wings of War stuff, but I decided not to. It's a decent game. I'd rather do something else than play that. That's what it boils down to. Not necessarily anything wrong with it. That was one of those things that I got with other items that I sold, and I bought that instead. And it ended up not being a smart decision because I think I played it like one time. What I don't like about the rule, probably the thing I like the least about the rule set is the way you deal damage cards, that you end up modifying the deck. So in other words, the deck has a certain number of whatever damage cards, and if you take one of them, that's now coming out of the deck. So the odds of you getting something else are less likely. Of that same card are less likely. Just something about that irks me. Just something about it just irks me that it messes with the percentile of percentage chance of something happening like that. You know, like if you know that there's a couple of really high damage cards, right, in your deck, and somebody takes those, nobody can get a really high damage on their plane because they've already been assigned to another plane. And you may not know that because, you know, you don't know the damage that your opponent takes, but still, there's just something about that just irks me. Okay, so this is coming along. I gotta do some research and make a decision what color I'm gonna make the window frames. You know, the inside, probably white. I'm leaning towards that because I've seen, not because I can't be creative and do, you know, bright colors, but that seems what I've seen. The shutters will probably not be white, just to mix it up a little bit. They won't be, you know, crazy like red or anything, but you know, gotta save the red shutters and stuff for Italian buildings. Italian. See, this goes like this. Floor is gonna start coming up soon. That's of course the part I'm really looking forward to. And you know, anything, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this was on a Saturday or early Saturday morning or something like that, but anything that you could potentially go into this house, you'll be able to go into. So for instance, there's a small building here that looks like someplace you would keep rakes or something like that. Let me get it over here to this. Okay, this little building that's right here. It's got a little double wooden door. It's got windows in the side, right? Like just be a glorified broom closet. It doesn't connect to the rest of this. There's a solid wall here between them. So I'm going to make a little cardboard cutout. It could be something as simple as this, you know. And it can be off to the side. The same way that Axis and Allies or a game like that says, hey, if you got too many guys in Gibraltar, put them over here and be off to the side. And you can walk in there and have a guy hiding in there if you need to. You know, same thing with, there's a door here on this attic. There's a door up here. This will lead to this room here that will be, you know, this size, you know, and you can put figures in there. You know, there's definitely a spot up here to shoot from, and another one up here on the other side also. So none of this, well, it's solid, you can't go in there. So got to do the window frames next. Also figure out what we're going to do for the brick. I don't think I'm going to do, it's not going to be red brick. It's not going to be that bright, and it'll be probably some kind of a mid-brown type color. Red just going to look wrong. So, but anyhow, we're coming along, and you know, obviously this is still going to have some washes and stuff like that on here, but we're on the right track here, and yeah, we're going to call this one out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry for the long break in there, but kind of had to do what I had to do, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by as always.